Greetings and salutations, YouTube family and friends. T-Rev Vlogs here. What's up, guys? Okay, first off, doing a bit of a cos test for Reno from Final Fantasy VII. It's been a while since I've really done any updates on the character. I gave the wig a little restyling here. Really like the way it turned out. Feeling good about it. Got the braid undone. Much to my dismay, I kind of like the braid, but that's not the way he wears it, so we left it at that. Picked up a couple of extra details, got a nice little gift for Christmas, so I added that to it. So we've got all this going on here. So other than that, it's just time to start looking towards brighter days when we can start doing this on a more regular basis, going out to conventions and having a good time with it. I know Reno's ready. Are you? Alright, on to the main point of this video. You all have spoken, and you all wanted me to elaborate a little bit more on some of the convention scene. In this case, the weirder side of conventions. Now, I figured since a good friend of mine in the convention scene who requested it, affectionately known as Katana the Angry Turk, should get a response from a fellow Turk. So from one Turk to another, let's get weird. While there are a lot of different aspects that could be considered weird in the convention scene, from the costume and wardrobe choices from the attendees to some of the things you can find in the dealer's room, there's one aspect I really want to focus on for today's video, and that is the weird way people act at conventions. Now, for a lot of us convention goers, conventions are the place where we can unwind, we can lower some of our inhibitions, and we can really be ourselves. The nerdy, anime-loving, or any fandom-loving person that we are, kind of trying to hide away from society, and we may be deemed a little bit too peculiar for them, so we can go to a convention and we can really act as our real selves. But sometimes those real selves are a little weird. To give you a couple of examples, my very first Anime St. Louis, my friends and I were all waiting to go to an event. I think it was the Masquerade. I could be wrong. It was a long time ago, so forgive me if my memory isn't 100% accurate, but I know we were waiting in a line. And this person comes up and says that they've lost their group of friends and they really need someone to hang out with at the moment until their other friends come back. So they kind of sort of adopted us as their group of friends to hang out with, which I thought was a little strange because I didn't know this person from anyone else in the convention. I had my group of friends and I was quite happy with that, and this person just walks right in and says, yeah, you're my friends now, so deal with it. And it wouldn't have been so bad, but the longer I got to know this person, the more I began to realize that they were a little punchy. And also kicky. By that I mean, if you said something or did something that this person disagreed with, they would not hesitate to slug you or kick you. And that is not really appropriate behavior, especially in a public setting. Yes, we are in a private event for the convention, but we are still out in the general public. So what that means is you need to kind of act at least a little bit civil while you're out and about. Don't just start hitting and slugging people because they don't agree with the things that you're saying or doing. And it was about that time I realized why their group of friends had left them. So we tolerated the behavior for a little while, and luckily, just as quickly as they came into our lives, they also disappeared. Which, now that I think about it, was kind of a little weird in and of itself, but that's neither here nor there. So just like that, they were gone, and I was just kind of left a little bewildered and thought that the whole interaction was just a little bit, weird. Fast forward to the next year, I'm dressed as Kurama. We're walking through the dealer's hall. I'm seeing what all they've got to offer, something maybe I want to buy or got my eye on something in the future. And out of nowhere, completely unsolicited, I feel this hand slowly set itself upon my shoulder. That was red flag number one. I then feel a presence reach around the other side of me. And then they whisper into my ear, something highly inappropriate that you really shouldn't be saying to anybody. What? I didn't know what to say. That kind of thing had never happened to me before. It was one thing for a stranger to come up and be like, you're my friends now, and if you don't like what I say, I'm gonna hit you. But for somebody to come up behind me completely unsolicited, grab me, and whisper something very inappropriate into my ear, no, that's too much. I was, of course, shocked into silence because I'd never had anything like that happen to me before. But for goodness sakes, people, this was before cosplay is not consent came along. But that doesn't mean that it didn't exist. It doesn't matter what a person is dressed as or who they may be dressed as. You don't talk to anybody that way. You just don't. I don't care if it's a joke or you think you're coming off as funny. No, you're not coming off as funny. You're coming off as creepy, and that is not okay. And it is also weird. And coming from a weirdo like me, that's saying something. The next example I want to give is outside of the anime fandom and more into the furry fandom. And this particular event didn't necessarily happen to me, but it happened to a friend of mine, and I happened to witness the whole event. We were hanging out at the dance Saturday night, having a pretty darn good time. Things were starting to wind down. Everybody was going back up to their rooms. It was getting late, but we were still kind of hanging around, being the night owls that we were, just seeing, what would happen. And this gentleman must have been friends with the DJ because he spent most of the evening back behind the DJ booth. And he was, of course, getting really into the music, having a wonderful time, probably too much of a wonderful time, and I'm wondering if his mental state wasn't altered by some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm talking about. But this song comes on that the DJ's playing, and the guy is really, really into it, like having a wonderful time. My friends and I, we're a little exhausted, so my one friend is sitting in a chair against the wall, just relaxing. So the person in question comes up to her and screams at her, "You need to get up and dance." And of course, she was a bit taken aback, but she just kind of shook her head and said, "No, I'm not going to get up and dance." So what does this person do? He gets right in her face and screams, "Get up and effing dance." It was about this time that my other friend and I began to approach this very boisterous gentleman, and my friend told him, "Dude, listen, she doesn't want to dance. Leave it alone." So I think he realized, since the odds were becoming 3-1, that he probably should let it go, and he went back with his DJ friend and did his own little thing. So yeah, that was a little bit strange to see, but it doesn't end there. We ran into the same person the very next morning on the elevator going down to the main lobby. He was still wearing the half of his fursuit that he had on the night before. He still looked like he was soaked in the same sweat as the night before. And once those doors closed, let me tell you, if smell could have been visual, there would have been a green cloud filling that entire elevator. And we were trapped with it. This gentleman had obviously not changed clothes since the night before and was stewing in his own perspiration, thus permeating his scent all over into the elevator. How we didn't pass out is still a mystery to me, but we somehow managed to make it. I think we got out on the main lobby and said, you know what, we're just going to take the stairs to go down to the convention area, because we really couldn't last very much longer in that elevator. The dude was pretty ripe and was also probably feeling the effects of the night before. So again, I mentioned the 6-2-1 rule in a previous video. For goodness sakes, folks, don't forget that one shower. It's minimum 6 hours of sleep, minimum 2 square meals a day, and minimum 1 shower per day of the convention. And if you're wearing a particularly sweaty costume like a fursuit, you might want to opt for a couple of showers for the sake of everybody else in that building. So yes, the way people act at conventions can be deemed a little bit weird, but I want to finish this video on a bit of a funnier, lighthearted note. This particular event happened at the same ASTL that the whole Karama over-the-shoulder whispering incident happened. So I was still kind of recovering from that before I saw this, but this one didn't scare me so much as it just kind of made me laugh. So I forget if it was Friday night or Saturday night. I know it was one of the evenings because the sun was already down, but I was out in the lobby with some friends of mine, mingling, just having a good time, as we often tend to do. And while I'm standing there minding my own business, doing whatever, probably conversing with somebody, I hear off in the not so far distance a burly voice barking, "Get back here!" I didn't know what was going on, but as I turned to see what was happening, this green flash goes whoosh right past me. It's a Link cosplayer from Legend of Zelda. Turned out to be a good friend of mine later on as I got to know him, but I just see this green blur go past me as fast as he possibly can, and I'm just like, huh, well that's peculiar. But before I really have a chance to register what's happening, I see a larger pink blur whoosh, go just as fast chasing after Link. The pink blur was, I would say, about a 7-foot tall gentleman, at least 7 foot with the heels. Yes, this guy was running in heels. More power to him for being able to do that. My feet hurt just looking at it. But 7 feet tall, dressed as Princess Peach from Super Mario. And he had the long flowing pink ball gown, a flowing blonde wig, a nice crown. I gotta say, the dude was elegant. He was pulling it off. I mean, not very many people can do that with that build, but he was rocking it. So, go Peach. But this giant mountain of a gentleman wearing this Peach costume had his ball gown hiked up and was running as fast as he possibly could after Link. Why? I don't know. All I see is this happening and I just scream, "Run, Link! She gon' get ya!" I asked Link much later down the road what exactly he said or did to get Peach that angry at him to cause him to start chasing him down the convention foyer there, but I don't remember if I got a straight answer. I think neither one of us really knew exactly what had been said. All I know is that I have never seen Link run that fast, and I had never seen anyone in heels, for that matter, run that fast. I'm pretty sure Peach never caught Link, and I'm kinda glad for Link's sake because there's no telling what in the world Peach would have done had Link been caught. So there we go. A few examples of how weird people act when they're at conventions. Like I say, you go to a convention to kind of be a little bit liberated, take off some of the stipulations that you may have in normal society, because let's face it, we're all a little weird in our own way, and at conventions we can be our own weird selves, but sometimes people just get a little too weird. And those were some of the examples that I had for you today. In all the years that conventions have been around the area, there is bound to be some weird stuff that has occurred, and I'm sure y'all have seen some crazy stuff. I know my buddy Bob has got some really strange ones. In fact, I would love to hear a video of him talking about some of the stranger stories that he has, because the man has been doing conventions for a long time and he has seen a lot of very strange things. So consider this an official, unofficial challenge, Bob, if you want to. Only do it if you want to, but I would pay money to hear some of these stories because I know you've got some humdingers because you've told them to me. So there we go. This was a bit of an epilogue to convention memories. My buddy Katana the Angry Turk, Donovan Bain, wanted to hear a little bit about the weirder side of conventions, at least from my perspective. So there you go, buddy. I hope that appeased the need for weird, if you will. I'm sure you've got some pretty good stories yourselves. You've been doing it for a while as well, so would love to hear some more of your stories too. But from my end of things, that's kind of some of the weirder things that people have done and said, and yeah, it's just, some of it left me kind of scratching my head. Had to wonder what was going on there, but weird will always be weird. So if you guys like what you're seeing and what you're hearing, again, don't forget to subscribe down below, hit the little notification bell so you don't miss any videos that I come out with, and make sure you're leaving a comment down here and let me know you guys are checking this stuff out. If you have anything to add to the conversation, love to hear about it. How did I do on Reno, does it work? Does it look good enough? Am I passable? Do I need work somewhere? Again, let me know in the comments below. How do you think I did with Reno? I was going more for the Advent Children thing, but I did like the fingerless glove look that they gave him in the remake, so I kind of adapted that to the look, so it's kind of like a mishmash of Advent Children and the remake, but you know, it is what it is. I did what I could do. I might give the hair a little bit more oomph up here, but I don't know, I kind of like the way that everything falls, and then I've got, you know, like I say, the ponytail here, and everything's looking pretty okay. I'm kind of happy with it. Are you guys happy with it? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, that's really all I have to say about it. So until next time, I'll talk to you soon, and take care. Bye-bye.